The peculiar nature of introverted intuition, if it gains the ascendancy, produces a peculiar type of man, the mystical dreamer and seer on the one hand, the artist and the crank on the other. Carl Jung, Psychological Types. Have you ever felt that there's a hidden layer to your thoughts? Something deep and mysterious, just beneath the surface, that's calling you to explore? What if I told you that tapping into this secret realm of intuition could unlock parts of yourself you never knew existed? In this video, we're entering the fascinating, often misunderstood world of introverted intuition, a quiet yet powerful force that lies dormant in many of us, waiting to be awakened. And while society often overlooks or even dismisses it in favor of extroverted traits, this hidden power holds the key to life-changing insights. Stay with me as we journey through Carl Jung's groundbreaking ideas on introverted intuition and discover how it can not only reveal deeper truths, but also shape the course of your life. If you've ever sensed there's more to the world and to yourself than what meets the eye, then you're in for something special. Let's dive in and see what lies beneath the surface. In 1921, Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung published Psychological Types, a work that would forever change how we understand human personality. In it, Jung revealed insights into one of the most enigmatic and misunderstood personality types, the introverted intuitive. Jung believed that this type was not only the most neglected, but paradoxically held the greatest untapped potential. Now, imagine being someone who constantly sees beneath the surface, perceiving hidden patterns, meanings, and connections that most people miss. This is the world of the intuitive introvert, the ability to grasp the unseen, to understand without knowing how you understand. Intriguing, isn't it? But here's the catch. The introverted intuitive often feels like they live in a reality that no one else can access. Jung's theory identifies two basic orientations, introverted and extroverted, and four functions, thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. The introverted intuitive stands out because of their unique relationship to perception. For most people, perception is about what's visible, what can be seen, heard, or touched. But for the introverted intuitive, perception goes beyond. It's about the unseen forces shaping those visible realities, the layers beneath the surface. It's as though they have a sixth sense for knowledge, an ability to just know things that others cannot easily grasp. But how? How does the introverted intuitive access this hidden knowledge? Even Jung admitted this process is shrouded in mystery, and yet it's this very mystery that makes them so powerful, and at the same time, so misunderstood. To those around you, your insights might seem like they come from nowhere. You speak of things that others can't quite grasp, leaving them puzzled, maybe even distant. You've probably felt this. It's as if you're speaking a language only you understand, one that can leave you feeling isolated, wondering why others can't see what seems so clear to you. And perhaps you've been labeled as distant or even strange for the very qualities that make you unique. But here's the truth. Your depth is not a flaw. That feeling of being out of step with others is not a weakness, but a reflection of your ability to see beyond the surface. The key is in learning to listen. To truly tap into your introverted intuition, you need to carve out space for it to speak. This isn't something you force, but rather something you allow. And that's where daily reflective exercises like journaling or meditation come in. These quiet moments when the noise of the outside world fades, let your inner world come alive. It's in these still spaces that your intuition, often subtle and quiet, rises to the surface, guiding you through insights that might otherwise go unnoticed. You'll be surprised at what starts to emerge from within you, like a voice from the depths, slowly revealing truths you always sensed were there. And as we go deeper into Jung's wisdom, you'll begin to see how to harness this intuitive power without falling into its pitfalls. Now stay with me, because this journey is just getting started. For the introverted intuitive, looking inward isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. Their internal world, rich with images, ideas, and possibilities, often feels more real and compelling than the external world. This is where their genius and their struggle lies. They can create entire worlds in their minds, like J.R.R. Tolkien did with The Lord of the Rings. The inner world is not just a reflection of reality, it's a space where they can build new realities altogether. But with this power comes isolation. Jung identified the artist as the archetypal introverted intuitive, someone driven to bring their inner visions into the world. If they fail to express these visions, they risk becoming eccentric. what Jung called a crank. Here's where the tension builds. They're seen as either a misunderstood genius or a strange visionary whose ideas are too far ahead of their time. Jung took it further, distinguishing between two types of intuitive introverts. First, there's the aesthetic intuitive, the one who is captivated by the beauty of their inner world. They become consumed by the vision itself, perhaps lost in its vividness, but never fully translating it into the real world. This type might create incredible works of art or fantasy, but there's always a risk. They can become disconnected from reality, obsessed with the image for its own sake. Then there's the moral intuitive, driven not by beauty, but by meaning. They see their visions as having a larger, almost universal significance. It's not enough to simply witness the vision. They must act on it. They feel compelled to change the world based on what they've perceived. But here lies the trap. Their vision is often so grand that it alienates them. They see the big picture, while others focus on the mundane details of daily life. In trying to make their vision real, they risk becoming isolated symbols themselves, abstract figures whose depth and insight are beyond the grasp of others. Have you ever felt this way? Then you might be more of an intuitive introvert than you think. But we're only scratching the surface. There's more to uncover. Jung had profound advice for intuitive introverts, wisdom that could help them avoid their unique challenges and realize their immense potential. But here's the thing. The very qualities that make introverted intuition powerful can also become its greatest traps. And Jung didn't mince words when it came to warning against these pitfalls. One key warning: relying too much on introverted intuition. Jung cautioned that overusing this function would cause its opposite, extroverted sensation, to slip into the unconscious. And once it's buried there, it doesn't go quietly. It becomes autonomous, acting without your awareness or control. You might even start to believe that your external circumstances are simply fate, when in reality, your unconscious mind is steering the ship. Imagine trying to run a complex app on a phone with outdated software. This is what happens when you rely solely on introverted intuition without balancing it with other functions. And there's more. Jung suggested that if this imbalance festers, the individual could develop compulsions, what we might now recognize as obsessive-compulsive tendencies. The introverted intuitive, who lives in a world of ideas and abstractions, can find themselves gripped by an overwhelming need to control the physical environment, hypersensitive to external objects, and trapped in rigid, repetitive behaviors. If you ever feel overwhelmed by sensory distractions, whether it's being overly focused on small details or material objects, practice grounding techniques. One simple method is mindful breathing. Focus on the feeling of air entering and leaving your body to bring yourself back to the present moment and reset your mental balance. But even beyond that, there's another challenge: the introverted intuitive's social struggle. As deep as their internal world is, it can make relating to others incredibly difficult. They become so absorbed in their inner vision that the external world and the people in it fades into the background. They often come across as distant or unapproachable, which makes genuine connection hard to find. Despite their depth, they lack the personal warmth that would allow others to feel at ease around them. It's as though the more they retreat into their mind, the more the world moves on without them. If you're someone who feels misunderstood in social situations, start small. Share just one insight or personal thought with someone close to you, or someone you feel you can trust. You don't have to reveal everything, but opening up just a little can help ease that disconnect and bring your internal world into your relationships. But how can the intuitive introvert really address these core issues? You might assume they should dive headfirst into developing their opposite function, extroverted sensation. That would make sense, right? But Jung warns against this. It would be too jarring for their psyche, disrupting their natural orientation and potentially leading to even more problems. Instead, Jung offered a different path forward, developing what he called the auxiliary function. For the intuitive introvert, this means focusing on either thinking or feeling. By strengthening one of these, they can create a bridge between their inner world and the outer one without risking a collapse of their internal balance. Think about it. If you've been an artist your whole life, lost in your artwork, trying to become a computer engineer overnight may cause some issues for you. It's better to take the slow road to developing skills that are foreign to you. So what does this look like in practice? For those who choose to develop their thinking function, it means learning to turn raw intuitions into coherent ideas. Instead of merely perceiving abstract visions or fleeting insights, they should organize these impressions into logical arguments, structured theories, or even practical plans. It's about using reason as a tool to bring clarity to the vague and intangible. On the other hand, developing the feeling function means getting in touch with one's core values and emotional responses. Here, instead of trying to intellectualize every intuitive impression, they should ask, how does this make me feel? What do my emotions say about this vision? By evaluating their inner world through the lens of values and emotions, they learn to judge whether their intuitions align with their true beliefs. To develop your auxiliary function, start with small daily tasks. If you're more inclined towards thinking, spend 10 minutes a day organizing your intuitions into logical steps or a list of ideas. If feeling resonates more, take a moment to reflect on how certain thoughts or intuitions align with your personal values and emotions. These small steps will help you integrate other aspects of your personality, making your inner world clearer. This development process doesn't just strengthen the auxiliary function, it also opens the door to healthier engagement with extroverted sensation, but without forcing it. By addressing the auxiliary first, the introverted intuitive can ease into their external world without provoking internal chaos or triggering neurotic symptoms. It's a careful balancing act, but it's the key to unlocking their potential without losing themselves in the process. So if you're an intuitive introvert, remember, start by giving your inner world a voice. Take just one idea that's been on your mind and work it through, either logically or emotionally. When you do this, you build a bridge between your inner insight and the external world, allowing others to see what's been hidden within. Jung once said about intuitive introverts, "Their life teaches more than their words." In this simple sentence, he reveals something profound about the introverted intuitive. It's not their ability to communicate through words that makes them valuable. It's the way they live, the wisdom they embody silently, that speaks louder than anything they could say. But for the intuitive introvert, this truth can feel like a double-edged sword. You might wonder, how can something so internal, so invisible, matter at all? In a world that values loud voices and clear-cut actions, it can be easy to feel like your quiet wisdom is overlooked, or worse, banal. You might even doubt whether your unique way of seeing the world is a gift at all. But here's where you must trust in your deeper knowing. That sense of disconnect, of being misunderstood or unseen, is not a sign that your intuition is weak. It's a reflection of how rare and precious your gift truly is. The truths you hold, the insights that stir within you, are not for everyone to immediately understand. They're whispers from the unconscious, subtle threads of a deeper reality waiting to be woven into something greater. And here's the real power. Even when you feel unseen, your intuition is working behind the scenes, guiding your steps in ways that others can't perceive. You're creating, influencing, and shaping the world not through grand gestures, but through your presence, through the quiet depth you carry with you. The world needs that, even if it doesn't always know it. Introverted intuitives are like living symbols of a deeper truth, that life is not just what we see on the surface. There's a hidden world beneath, an internal world rich with meaning, insight, and untapped potential. It's almost as if they walk a different path, one that's hard to see but impossible to ignore once you've glimpsed it. Even though they struggle with sharing this inner vision, often seeming distant, misunderstood, or even out of touch, they hold the key to understanding the depths of human experience. But here's the twist. That very struggle, the difficulty they face in communicating their inner world, is part of their gift. Intuitive introverts remind us that life isn't about grand speeches or perfect explanations. It's about how you live, the example you set, and the quiet wisdom that emerges from simply being who you are. The introverted intuitive doesn't need to shout their truth from the rooftops because their life itself becomes the message. And that's the lesson we all need to learn. In a world obsessed with the external, with appearances and material success, the introverted intuitive is a reminder of the richness of the internal landscape. They may not always fit in, but they challenge us to look beyond the surface, to trust in what's unseen, and to value the inner life as much as the outer. If you found this video insightful, you won't want to miss the next one where I dive deep into Carl Jung's top 5 must-read books, from the best starting points for beginners to his most advanced and controversial work. If this video resonated with you, I'm certain that video will take your understanding to the next level. And remember to ask yourself, what hidden truths have your intuitions been trying to tell you lately?